Hey, good morning. Let's have a look. All right, let's take a look. We've got all right, thank you. Mikey is saying first and foremost, MXN, JPY. I don't have it. Yeah, let's take a look at the others. Nothing here. Dollars coming back in. Euro popping up. Not sure what the fuss is. All right, let's start. Let me know if you have a reason why. All right, hey, good morning. Sorry, it is Thursday. Hans and I did our options power hour yesterday from 4 to 5. That'll be uploaded today. And one of the things that we talked about was how to stay long, right? This market advance at the same time get some protection. And one idea that I just posted this morning is here. So this is not for everyone, right? So right now, I mean, I just showed you the other day or last week, I should say, 615 SPY calls as a right tail melt up type of situation. And obviously, we are pushing higher and higher, kind of closer and closer. We're already kind of halfway there. So it is not a timing tool to say, oh, I think we're going to roll over now. I'm obviously looking every single day for tells, right? I know we're extended in breadth, but I don't have any signal whatsoever. We need a macro trigger. Non-farm payrolls might be that. It wasn't jobless claims this morning. Again, the data is mixed, but not negative. So there really isn't anything percolating that I can see under the surface. We still have a very strong breadth advance. We still have advanced decline moving higher. We still have, the whole kit and caboodle. The only thing that I see is since last week, we've had some selling underneath the surface, which is mostly small caps. So this is really more of a nicey tell. In other words, underneath there's like a micro air pocket of risk that's triggering. I gotta be mindful of that, and that's something I've talked about. But otherwise, VIX, right, is on the ground. And one thing that I have mentioned since, pre-election, we kind of expected some time of relief rally when it was done, and VIX to fade right into that 200. It did. You can't probably see this very well. Come on. Hold on. The heck's going on? That's weird. Okay, so anyway, we gapped right down onto the 200. We had literally just done a webinar about this, saying that was my likely, tag, and then 1240. We're not at 1240 yet, but I'm still expecting 1240. So anyway, long story short, in talking with Hans yesterday about how to protect, it sounds a little funny, stay long but hedge, right? Puts are cheap, but I like this strategy that I just kind of popped up in front of you. So not everyone's a VIX trader. Hans is. So he's got his strategies. I wanted to just put one out there for anyone who might be interested in a financed call spread for February, right? So I'm still expecting end of year. I'm still expecting mid-January length in the market. At some point, we'll get a hiccup and have some gyrations. But for the most part, the bigger risk is on the upside, not the downside. So right now, I just wanted to put this out here because we talked about it yesterday. It's a finance call spread in VIX. And right now, yesterday VIX was about 13. I'm still thinking it hits 1240. And of course, that would be cheaper, right? Right now, it's about 80 cents, whatever. It's still a good idea. I have no idea. This is absolutely not my wheelhouse. I have trader instinct. I've just mentioned repeatedly in the past few weeks that I just don't like the war vibes, right? It isn't just about how the policies are going to get implemented. That's next year. That's a 2025 kind of situation where we talked about Tariffs not priced in. We talked about, the Doge cutting what, 2 trillion out of the budget. We got some issues that we have not figured out how it's going to affect the market returns. But right now, everyone is just so bowled up. I mean, it's so consensus that I figured this might be a really good idea, or at least a good time for those who are interested to put on a VIX hedge. Okay, moving on. Speaking of, oh my God, really? So everyone thinks this Bitcoin, and this has been something that obviously I show every single day, every single day. This is from mid-October, and it's been literally documented as, okay, we've got liquidity in the house. These are the proxies, Hood and Coin, and to a lesser degree, PayPal, Tesla, and Square. They all have Bitcoin on the balance sheet, but they are also oversold and just needing to push higher. Anyway, I've been writing about this, talking about this every single day. I also have a colleague who is extremely focused on crypto. I have clients who are extremely focused on crypto, Bitcoin, blockchain, Ethereum, XRP. I learn from them. Doesn't mean I have to, join the crowd, but I will tell you this is easy, right? So as it relates to Bitcoin coming back, this was it. We had to either get above or get back, or we're going to get back down in the wedge. And clearly we had the momentum to move higher. Once we got above that 67.5, I said it's a double. And that's exactly what it's looking like right now for Ethereum. Very, very similar chart. This isn't rocket science. This is textbook. So there's liquidity in the system. There's momentum. There's melt up. Why not go into these speculative assets? And here's an example of the last time this triggered higher on massive QE, right, from the COVID low, literally double low, March, April, and then we had this. And then for 4 years, we're talking 2021, 2022, 2023, 2024, the money has just gone sideways. Now, of course, if you're chase or swing, your days or weeks, that's very different. But I'm talking about 4 years of money going sideways. Now it looks like it wants to break out. And if this breaks out, it is the exact same thing that I said about Bitcoin, right? If we get above here, then it's going to double. And I'm not worried about a shake and bake. We're still headed to most likely 130, 135. So anyway, this is literally what it looks like to me, that this will push above. And we literally have a situation where once it gets and stays above 38.50 for those who play, then it's a double is 77 in time. Now, it doesn't mean that it's going to be perfect double. It does work really well, by the way. And I've shown tons of instances of that if you've been here a while. But the point is, it can be between 7,200 and 8,000. So, trading is in a game of perfect. And then sometimes, of course, it has a pause or sometimes, whatever. The point is, this looks like an easy layup that everybody out there will be saying, I was such a believer since 2013. But your money stayed there for 4 years. And now it's pushing higher. So I like to time things. It's just, that's me. Anyway, I think this is obviously raring to go. And everybody this morning is totally bulled up on Bitcoin hitting 100,000. No, that was not hard. And no, I don't think it's done. Now, I'm definitely not of the sailor ilk that thinks Bitcoin's going to 13 million. We're not going to get into the religion, or the beliefs, macro or sentiment or any of that. I'm just pointing out that one, Ethereum looks really good, and so does a VIX hedge. So we've got stuff this morning, which is, of course, massively related to Bitcoin, and that includes MSTR, where I also said, hey, by the way, this looks just like SMCI in February when it hit 900 before SMCI pulled back violently, and then this was the February right here before it moved higher. It consolidated for a month or two, and then it shot higher. And it was in that final exhaustion gap that it reversed all the way back down to the 400. So MSTR, I was very clear. I said, this does not look done, but oh my God, was that funny. like that's from 2021. This was from 2021, even though it had the split, didn't matter. They were still hanging out here. And sure enough, tag it came back in and allowed some time for digestion. And now it's gearing back up and we're gapping back up. Really, if this was a stock, you'd say, oh gosh, that's terrible. I have to wait until this gets resolved. And you should, right? This is a huge expansion candle. It went literally 30, what did I write? 31%, 31.5% from peak to gap, peak to trough. And then it stabilized, roll over a little bit. But look at this. If this was a stock, you'd say, hey, that's the 21 day. That's not so bad. This is the 10 week. It's still in trend. So my point is these are all trading vehicles for sure. And Hood has a little bit different thing. I did mention, up here, it hit some resistance. Actually, the monthly's better. This 24.88, it came back down, got defended August 5th, came back in, and oh my God, this was just gorgeous, right? As soon as it broke out above the 10 and 21, it was in play again. And then it just needed to push through this 24.88. It did. It had a huge shake and bake right before the election. It looked like it was going to roll over with Bitcoin, by the way. Remember, we were pulling back down. And then Trump, right? So we got the absolute Trump bump and beautiful. It also has reported what 400. I don't even know. I read it off the other day. Maybe Mikey remembers, but oh, they were talking about how many new customers and how much in transactions. It was phenomenal, right? And I said, Schwab, eat your heart out, which is brokerage account. But it's also in a sector that's doing extremely well. Like look at IBKR, right? This is also recommended trend trade. Look at that gorgeous scoop, pullback, got saved August 5th. Everything looks like this and moved higher. This is extended, right? Or even the related NDAQ, where I have to pay ridiculous fees. And ICE, right? All the brokerages are doing phenomenal, right? This is the Treasury one I recommended. Or even, what was the other one? CBOE is okay, but that's not what I was just thinking of. CME, yes. All right, so look at all those are doing great. So the brokerage firms are doing great. This is on a weekly because I really care about the big picture, and then I can drill in much easier to the smaller picture. That's just how my brain works, kind of like that Ethereum going sideways for 4 years, and I've never mentioned it. But now I'm like, hey, it's going to double, that kind of thing. Anyway, when these are in play, it's pretty obvious, and they all go together. So Hood has the double benefit of being Bitcoin crypto transaction based, and now it's getting into gambling. And they want to, which is really funny. What's the word they used? Democratize, right? So they want to make it accessible for all. Oh my God. Okay, whatever. It's one of the reasons it's moving higher is they're getting into gambling and compete with DraftKings and I don't even know what else. So the point is, all of these are moving higher. Coin, this is such a crappy little company on the loss side, but it doesn't matter. After the earnings, which was right here, everything looks like this. Coin, and it continues, right? Mara is not brokerage, by the way. It's a minor, but same thing. That was earnings. And then everything looks like this. Trump bump, a little bit of a thump, but look at this. This at least is profitable, right? So I do have the benefit, like I said, of having clients who are really into the weeds of this stuff. And they also still respect the fact that I'm not. So blessings to you for having an open mind. And it's tradable. So nonetheless, I've kind of gone over this story before. Bitcoin is in play. I have no interest in it otherwise. And I really, really do believe in a nutshell, it's for those in need and those in greed. And right now it is a fabulous trading vehicle. So let's take a look at the big picture here. And then we'll go to the map and then the earnings and such that came out this morning. So here's that Bitcoin. Wasn't quite 2021, 22, 23, 24 like Ethereum, but it did kind of move higher and then just go sideways all year while gold moved higher. Now Bitcoin is moving higher while gold, silver, precious metals are going absolutely nowhere. So you might have to wait a little longer for the gold and silver advance. So anyway, this is the 20-day, could be anything, but the point is you can see where we just had some digestion, a little pause, and now it's hit that 100,000 and it's trying to get above and it's trying to scoop right down here. And you can see Ethereum, which I started looking at recently. And it just was like, okay, it's consolidating like Bitcoin. We know it's going to go at some point. And then this started moving higher and it hasn't even crossed yet. It hasn't even crossed yet. See that little poke above? It's in play. Long story short. All right, so things that I care about are dollar, and this has a little head and shoulders here on the 2-hour chart. But what I'm really looking for is to see if it comes back in this 105, let's call it 40. So this is the other head and shoulders on a daily. See how that works? It works from the inside out. So I can start to see head and shoulders, which I literally warned on the 29th. It looks like a fake breakout, fast failure, protect into Trump. And then boom, right? It had war vibes and it came right back down, but it's not really doing anything in big picture. This is the dollar move that I'm expecting to kind of determine some of its fate. So it does look like dollar wants to fall, and that has not triggered yet. But once it gets back inside, you know what happens with equities. They also move higher. This is, of course, relative to peers, not value relative to things, etc. But it is still absolutely in play. I don't even think gold and silver will react as much to a dollar dumping, but it would be a better chance. I think that gold and silver will be bullish, at least in the short term, on FOMC 18th and 19th is BOJ. I don't think they're going to hike, and I think Fed is going to cut. I think that it will definitely be more effective if Bitcoin tags and then comes back down. Gold and silver probably get a bid because Bitcoin is basically an off-ramp for certain commodities. In the meantime, in the in-between time, oil's going nowhere fast, and we've got our 10-year yield kind of chopping about this level of support. And again, I'm not very excited about that right now. SPY is moving higher. The rate of change or ascent, right, was smooth for the most part, and it's getting a little bit more elevated. Now it's getting a lot more elevated. I haven't even updated this, but cues are where it is at. All that excitement, Bitcoin and related. So we are really just $1 away from reaching 100% return since January 2023 low. And semis are right back in play. We had a nice little rotation there yesterday. But otherwise, we've got some the SAS continuation plays are still pushing. Oil is sideways. Nat gas having a little bit of a bounce. Bonds are just in chop mode before non-farm payrolls. And you can see this beautiful, like ridiculous grind higher. No inverted yield curve. Definitely, we finally made it to there it is, the 161 fib retracement from the January 2023 low. Now let's see what it does up here. In other words, to form any type of reversal pattern. We've talked about currencies. I'm not quite sure about the peso yen. I haven't seen that coming into play. So I'm just kind of going over some stuff. I post afterward my live trading room summary under trading room notes in Slack. So if you want, if you want a highlight of everything that I'm looking at in kind of written form, then that's really the place to go after. Plenty of liquid. I'm just reviewing some of the key charts. And this is definitely the one I want to focus on, which is growth, right? We definitely have to keep this on our key radar. A VIX hedge was something I wanted to give you. Ethereum, definitely want to give you. But this is what I'm looking for, is this type of repeat, potential repeat up here. I don't really want it in green, but whatever. And of course, it has to follow through. But that would be the big melt up that I see if this continues to follow through. So growth. And remember, I mentioned keep your eyes out for SPX 2% scenario. It actually becomes very, let's just say more, I don't even want, what do you want to call it? Aggressive to the upside, okay? Becomes negative gamma and feeds that dangerous, and I do say this on purpose, dangerous spot up, vol up, because that becomes unstable. How do I get that to flatten? Sorry. Yeah, there we go. That's not what I wanted. Oh, God. I just want to put that as placeholder. Nope, that was green. Okay. I'm out of here. So I've got some other things I want to show you, but right now, and skew doesn't matter, quote unquote. You can still climb a wall of worry on high skew. Somebody asked me about that. Remember when this right here was 171.72? And I said, no, that's just going to be climb the wall of worry. We were like, I don't know what we were, 5,500. And we're up. So no, the high skew is not, for me, not a bearish trigger at all. So that is, I wrote about this back here, whenever it was, September. Yep, I wasn't worried. High skew is not bearish. Good morning. I have our first light snowfall in Massachusetts, where I am located. And we have a very strong growth momentum. And I'm going to go over whatever you want in Zoom Q&A. So first, let's go over, and yes, hit me up if you have anything. There's, of course, tons of movement this morning. Tesla pushing above 359 is gorgeous, right? So that was price target, and it spent 1, 2, 3 weeks, and so far a half digesting 359. We are now above. So whether you are on, chase, swing, or trend time frame, Tesla is still it. Amazon also reviewed this one. I think this is also great on, maybe not chase today, but swing or trend time frame. Nothing wrong with this chart. So Amazon obviously is in play. NVIDIA, you know how I feel about that. 136. I was waiting for that post earnings. I mean, waiting for that. Very patient am I. So it's on its way. Semis, they're fine. Look at that. Beautiful. How long was I waiting for that 200-day tag? Ridiculous, I know. But that's it. This doesn't bother me. I have a plan. I like to have a plan until I get punched in the face and I'm like, wait a minute. All right, so private payrolls increased lower than expected. ISM manufacturing slipped a little bit, actually a lot, 52 after surging 56 in October. Mixed bag, like I said, it's like jobless claims, typical 222. It's ridiculous. 30-year mortgage has fallen to 6.69%. That's a beautiful thing. It's going to help some of those refi plays. But I'm not very, as I mentioned, I'm not excited about long bonds right here. I'm not. I think it's it's just you don't know how much I hate the 200-day. It's so much better to short into the 200-day or to go long into the 200-day. But once it gets there, it just squirrels around. It's kind of an exercise in frustration. All right, so we got Tesla off and running. Amazon is fine. Qs are almost high of 52364. Come on. Tease, what a tease. Oh, Rivian's above 1225, but it's still working that 200-day flatness type of thing. But it would be one of those short covering plays that could ignite into end of year. Remember I said the hedge fund short covering stuff? They're wildly unprofitable, and yet Amazon owns 7%, and yet Volkswagen infused liquidity to the tune of multiple billions. So it is a shorted play, but like I said, end of year, we could have some fireworks in what's called hedge fund factor rotation. The liquidity in the market right now is there, but it's extremely thin, so there isn't a lot. Just kind of keep that in mind. Yeah, retail plays are still rolling over. They're a mess. Okay, applied materials, little bump. Let me just see something. ASML. Semis are not doing. ASML continues off that 200-day into the, what do you call it? The convergence here of a weekly resistance and a 10-week and the 55-day. It's getting pretty thin up here. Should have a little shake and bake. Marvell was like, oh my God, it kept going. And yet this is really where I expected right here. This, oops, let me get on where's my monthly? I don't have. Okay, never mind. It's just sideways. Exactly. It's just digesting. Dell, I don't want it on a monthly. I want it on a weekly. Oh, that was it. Thank you very much. So Mobileye, I was asked about this one. I'm still excited about this one just because it has a little pullback. And when it did, when it was up here, and I said it'd be better to get it when it comes back down because the spreads were so wide. Perfect place to get it. Then it moved up to the next price target, pulled back to support. This is still working beautifully. There's nothing wrong with this one. That's my humble opinion. Right now, the thing I don't understand, I know they had wonderful things to say. It is just flabbergasting to me that the airlines are parabolic like United Airlines, right? And Delta. Cannot short this. There's just nothing here that's safe to short. Look at this rotation. Like it goes nowhere. Nowhere for such a long time. And then it does not have a red week. And it is extended from the mean. So if 80, then 100, it's now 100. This is not normal, right? They did not cure cancer. This is not normal. This is not normal behavior. So jets, I kind of stay away from. I'm like, what the? Anyway, CME, this I understand, right? This I know it's so boring, but was really excited as long as it could get above this monthly and really, really needed to get above this green because it did this kind of, right? So once it got above 209, it's now almost at all-time highs. So CME has some room to go. Your Okta is digesting the 200-day. So much stuff which is oversold is trying to be relevant. Nope, I wouldn't touch that. Tesla's up almost 2%. That's decent, sitting above 359 if it can stay there. So value is definitely not right now the darling. Absolutely not oil and gas, not building, not home builders. We still have falling 3-month yields, much more so than the 30-year, right? So that I just showed you was 3-month. This is the 30-year digesting underneath the 200. It'll be good for refi in time. VVIX is trying to get a little something going. NVIDIA's firm. Mobileye, NVIDIA. MP had a big shake and bake. This is where it needs to stay above. I posted that under swing client requested, not because of the China rare earth ban, which was very specific, and I posted about that. The one for that particular ban is a UAMY. This is the one, and Mikey had actually found that pretty early. I have wrong data. Very strong growth. Dollar dumping 105.40 is the level we really are looking for a big dump in dollar. Will that help gold and silver? I have my doubts as long as Bitcoin is running, and Bitcoin is running. 103 for Bitcoin, and Ethereum is just needing to push above, call it 4,000. Sorry, I had to start my charting software again. For some reason, it's just not working right. Show me the peso yen, or is that just a junky print? I get those all the time. Like, so this is really weird. I don't know if you can see this, but I have 107 versus 122 here. What's going on? All right. This is the best chase. Obviously, Tesla above that 359. I like the Mobileye as a swing. Your Palo Alto still owned by Pelosi. So is NVIDIA, by the way. So is AMD. Oh, AMD. Yes, yes. It's working higher with semis. It just has a lot more overhang here. Big level is 151. It tends to have to on its way to 164, but hold on, I'm looking for something. Good morning. Again, some of these memes at the end of the year start to move. They're not my favorites unless the whole thing moves, but I'm always on the lookout for themes. ENPH bounced from 60 back to 70 on its way to 80. Still is just an oversold bounce. Has not even become durable yet. So it's just an oversold bounce. Not so excited about that. PBR and Vail are way oversold, but I don't really have any bottom fishing ideas for those yet. Not yet. And I think a lot of the copper, right? Copper and steel, and mine and precious metals, the whole thing just go nowhere when you have Bitcoin in place. It's just really all there's to say about that. It's an off ramp. Huh. I have a bank that just hit my scan for all-time highs and looks very bullish for anyone in Canada. Like I said, I do not understand. I do not understand. Tesla, that's easy. Above 359, it goes higher. It's just a gorgeous monthly breakout above 237 that's stuck post earnings with a gorgeous Morningstar reversal, shake and bake, held the 10, Trump win, and it can double from 237. It's like, Walmart, it's getting ridiculous. If 80, then 100, it's getting ridiculous. It's just a concentration play because they don't want to buy too much in the small caps that are still unprofitable, that still have a wicked high bar for earnings. Not a little bit, but a wicked high bar for earnings coming up. So not really anything surprising there. They're buying big moats, big moats. Palo Alto, right? Walmart, Costco, the Qs, NVIDIA, Apple. They're buying anything that is too big to fail. It's not a real market, but it is very profitable if you focus on the themes that are working. Let's see. Obviously not catch-up. Home builders taking a pause, but nice gap fill. So at least that was done. We have remember the 3-month Treasury bill? Used to be 5.3% for many months. And I warned this was a Bollinger Band and it was about ready to break. And when we broke 5.14, that was it. Now we're 4.34, many basis points lower. The 5-year has fallen, but not as much. The 10-year has fallen, but not as much. Oops, sorry. And the 30-year has fallen, but not as much. So the short duration 3 month is like, wow. All the way up. And then the Fed starts pausing, and then the Fed starts cutting. By the way, this is the Fed pause right here, and then it starts rolling over. And then they finally announced they're going to cut. Remember at the Jackson Hole, and we knew the cutting was going to come because it started to roll over. Well, they're still going to cut. Oh, BBAI. Somebody asked me about this. Is this a baby NVIDIA? Uh, all I remember is it's an AI play that's really they're excited about. Maybe it's a baby NVIDIA, but in any case, it did its work to get to the 100. Big, huge digestion here on the weekly, but it's still clearly breaking out of a Bollinger Band, could go a lot higher. I just threw a trend line on here. It's not even perfectly pitched here. What the heck? Let's do that. All right, so here's your kind of area for target. Let's do this. About 340. So if you're bullish the BBI AI, keep it above. Depends on your time frame, right? But I'd say keep it above 250. That's the 100. That's literally where it digested and broke above 250. Intel has a new CEO. Oops, sorry, hold on. Where's my Copic curve? Hold on. This still looks really good. All right, Marvell has some profit taking. And this is literally what Tim did yesterday. He sold calls against it pretty much out of the chute. Beautiful. And it died. I didn't tag it. 523, 52, 523, 65. We still haven't tagged it. The 100% advance. I'm just dying to get it out of the way. All right. I do not see anything but Bitcoin related excitement and probably profit taking all at the same time. Unity, that had a double bottom here. This thing is massive. This expansion candle, this is still working. Keep it above 23. It's ridiculous, I know, but nothing. There's no red on the screen here as a double, sorry, a 2-bar reversal, this is called, and it can be very powerful. It literally engulfed all of the prior months of losses, and it's continuing. So Unity is in play. Still going to have a dang hard time with the descending 200. Somebody was in this. And I said, please make sure you stay above 23. I'd say bring it up now for sure. 24. Let's bring it up some more. No, that's 25.41. All right, so now keep it above 25.59 because this is the mean back down here. So you're $5 away from its mean. This is not a 45-degree angle. This is literally a bear trap turning parabola where it's very extended from its mean. Little shake and bake this morning, a little bit of red. Amazon's a little bit green. Again, concentration risk is still in the house, and airlines. It's just so weird. Show me one chart that looks like this. Ever. Ever. They have a little red, they have a little green, they have a rhythm, they have a pattern. This at least went sideways before it broke out, retested its breakout. I mean, this is normal. This is a strange bank that seems to make it on my trend long list, but this is not normal. So anyway, oh, this is also a big favorite. I forget. Another one that's like BBAI, a new IPO. Oh my God, they're so excited about this NBIS. Those are for more folks that are really into new IPOs for which you need to have some fundamental analysis going on. There's not enough price information here to really do anything with, and patience. So I would say that's just not my wheelhouse. I just know that there is so much buzz about NBIS and BBAI. Those who I follow who are early adopters and fundamentally geared as how they pick stocks are excited about those two. I wish I could tell you more, but I scan and synthesize a lot, and I see those two names coming up from folks that I happen to actually really like as fundamental analysts, and they're early adopters. So that's I keep it on my radar, but can't recommend because there's just not enough price information. This is easy, right? Literally. I've been waiting, and it's here. So this is great, and it's a continuation theme. We literally just needed to get above, boom, beautiful, and we're above, and we just keep moving higher. This is in play. So some things are just just a little bit easier, like the ETH breaking out, Bitcoin breaking out. This didn't take any knowledge about hack rates. Nope. It didn't even need Trump. It was going to break out anyway. Just needed a little trigger. But definitely Biden admin seems to have kept a lid on a lot of that stuff. So it's being taken off. I'm not seeing anything else that comes up except IGV is getting some selling under the surface. Okay, let me go look at the earnings. ESTC is digesting, CDNS is digesting, Team is digesting. You can see at least an inside day. I mean, these were crazy when they started to move higher off the bottom, right? And where was the bottom? Exactly here, which is so ironic. Do you see the 400 week and monthly and Bollinger Band? Once it got back above the 400 week, it just has moved higher. Now we have a bearish engulfing, so that is a warning for profit taking. Keep that in mind. All right, LNG. I'm going through Q&A. This is one recommended by client Anne. She's really in the weeds with in this space. Just put it that way. Very much so. So LNG continues, as does, I would say EQT is undergoing some chop here, but that was a breakout of size. This was also hers. So these are digesting. They don't look bad to me. They just look extended and digesting. LNG will need to digest at some time. Really weird that some of these plays are just unrelenting in their bullishness. But take it, right? So these two are fine. Hold on one second. Good morning. Yes, Kevin. Ah, there you are. Yes, this is, remember, a new issue. They actually took it away. They disbanded the grayscale, I forget when, and then they came back in. This is the old one. I think there's like a classic and a new. Options are non-existent, so you really kind of stuck with the what do you call it? The stock itself. The options are too not safe. So this is the IPO, and this is where you need to stay above. For example, 33, 1 for 10 split. Same thing with ETH. E, 33. It is a derivative product, so it's a little bit funky, right? I don't like these, but it is one way to play for sure. No, zero options. Definitely not. Oh, you're in Pennsylvania? You get some snow? It's our first snow. I'm so excited. I'm like, yeah, until we have to like deal with it on a regular basis and with tons and tons amount. Good morning. Okay, Indian stock market in a swing long, for example, INDA. Yeah, what's normal again? So let's take a look at this one. I know this has been one that and Archana and Nell in our Chase live huddle have definitely been playing the India space, right? So it's doing extremely well. Yes, tariffs will come in, but the big picture, this is another situation where it did fall back to the 200. Now it's back above. I like it much better that it's above the 55. This is really helpful. Very, very, very helpful. If you're talking about this ETF, I'm just grabbing one in particular. The options are way thin, but definitely hit Archna up and Nelson because they have been focused on this dark pools, option flow, banks, etc., that are in India as themes to play swing long. I would say this had a very obvious evening star reversal, which is a reversal trigger, a pattern. Close below the 10-week, which is no bueno, absolutely no bueno. This is August 5th when everything got a reflexive short covering bounce, and that was absolutely a top. It bounced into resistance, gapped below. It is a gappy product, but I'm just saying that's a trend reversal. Only thing that saved it, literally, was the 50-week, a little bit of Trump, but I think just the momentum. And now we're getting back above the 10-week. That'd be a really important place for it to stay above. So if you like this one, remember, I'm not so crazy about the 200-week. I tend to see it squirrel around for a while before it really gets its mojo back. But if you enter here on this very lovely bounce, it needs to get and stay above that 10-week. I wouldn't give it too much room. 55.28, 55.28 happens to align on the daily and the weekly. Give me another name. I'll happily look it up again. GTLB reports after market. Hold on. Now this one had been moving higher off the bottom. Like it's funky. It's a swing. It's definitely, I don't know if you're doing anything with options or if you're doing anything on a short duration just for earnings. But this is something that did get above that trend line. That's Very good. So if you are long, for example, you protect to this kind of 58.70 because that's exactly where it could go back down to. But if it stays above here, it's very bullish. So I don't have any edge with earnings. You can also do it after. You can also play it after. Let's look at the 200. The 200's flatlined, so that's a lot better than descending. That's tough. Literally, it got above the 53. It got above the 200. It moved above some key levels. It really needs to get above 68 on a daily. Ugh, it's thin. And options, for the most part, are not awesome. They're, oh God, that's wicked wide. All right, so they're really not awesome. So you've got a 1240 by 13. Someone just came in, $55 calls. I don't know if they're buying or selling these. Sometimes, remember the NVIDIA? And maybe you don't, but I'll tell you. When right before NVIDIA announced, someone came in with 149 million in sold calls deep in the money. And I don't remember what the strike was, but I said that's most likely protection. They own the underlying, and it's a thing. And Hans and I actually, he did a little a class on it in one of our webinars where he explained that's exactly what he recommended to someone who, a client who owned Tesla and wanted to hold it through earnings. So he sold deep in the money calls. I know Tim uses that or variations on that as well. So I would only be guessing. But 2000 kind of sticks out. January 25, not 26, so it's not a leap. And it's definitely in the deep in the money. 55 calls are really right back here at the bottom of this trend line. That's a good idea if you're long the underlying and you're selling, for example. Anyway, this is my best shot. I don't know on GitLab. It just looks good, but it has to stay above on a close this 58.70. Yeah, I have a whole list for India. Let me just see if I can. But they have been really on top of it. What the heck is it? That's Direxion. I'm not a fan. That's iShares, the INDY. Is iShares BlackRock? I forget. Anyway, there's EPI, Wisdom Tree. They all look identical. Can you see? So it really comes down to liquidity and potential options, but most are thin. INDF is the financials. Again, all of these have that evening star reversal. Very important to get back above and negate that. Then it would be very, very nice. This is regional banks. I don't know. Is this India? IBM? Nice. That's actually a very nice trend. Archana, are you here? Could you confirm or deny if IBM has anything to do with India? It's coming up on my scan for India related names. If so, that's a gorgeous trend. I mean, it's choppy, but it's 45-degree angle up and to the right. Anyway, these are, like I said, they did a lot more research on this. I'm just quickly going through a quick scan of India related names. We know info. CIS, technologies, that's for sure. Outsourced tech, not likely very friendly Trump play. In other words, Trump during 2016 deported, that's a better word, or didn't renew, however you want to put it. Anyone who was legal from China, India, didn't matter. It was a big hit to tech employment. And WIT, which is Wipro, another one that's info. So those are the ones that come up on India. Okay, thank you. Mikey says, yes, IBN. So WIT looks fine, but just keep that in mind, not option friendly. And IBI and Infosys also looks fine, but not option friendly, and probably not good under a Trump admin. I would be very hesitant personally to go too much into the outsourced tech models that will likely be under some pressure. Let's put it that way. And IBN refers to ICICI Bank Limited, which is one of the largest private sector banks in India, provides a wide range of banking and financial services to retail and corporate customers in India and internationally. Also HDB, and Rithika says HDB is also an Indian bank. All right, so those are the names. Hope that helps. Don't expect a momentum though. Those are kind of slow. Okay, Regeneron and Celsius. Regeneron. Wow, no. So are you looking at, Mahesh, a bounce? Okay, this is definitely extended on the downside, but I would say, let's see if Alexander has any thoughts on this, if he's done any write-up on Regeneron. Because this is an example where it fell into the 200 and didn't squiggle very long, did it? It just continued the descent. So it literally got cut in half. 1,200 to 600-ish. Okay, 700, that's massive. And it has a gorgeous cradle formation. 998, it was done. It is now on the 50-month. So if you are bullish for even a bounce, this is 50-month. So it really, really needs to get supported here, but I think it's going to be a while. But fundamentally, I'm not quite sure what the game would be. It broke, as far as I'm concerned. This was support. It sliced right through it like butter. This was support. It sliced through like butter. So all it's doing right now is maybe bouncing back up. So the 200 week is basically the 21. It's so far from being a viable trend. There's no trend reversal in this whatsoever, but it could have a short duration bounce. Is it a heavily shorted name that could have also short covering into year end? Maybe. But see the 10 and 21 up here? There's no part of me that says this is ready for, what do you call it? A reversal. It could definitely bounce up into, maybe it gets even going, this 834 area. It's going to be really tough to get above that. All right, so snap right back at you. Roku, there's no volatility. But there's no volatility, right? Like we have nothing. IGV got a little hit, but that's just digesting at the Bollinger Band. We probably have a little bit more come in tomorrow. Square also kind of stopped going up. We don't have anything yet until next week when China meets on the 11th and 12th. BABA is still working its way down to that trend line at the 200-day. This is really noisy. I gotta like remove everything in here. Yeah, I'm gonna get rid of everything here. These are old anyway. I'll show you some intermarket in just a minute. I just want to get rid of some junk. All right, so it would be lovely if you are bullish BABA, is if we came back down to the 200 and you do a little bit of if you're confident or you want to play into the 11-12 event and it starts to move the market. Again, I am very suspicious that they're going to say anything about fiscal stimulus. I don't believe it, but that's me. If they do, of course we're going to have a solid bounce, but right now I would look for that 200-day, which is 83. As a potential area for it to have a bounce. But right now, there's nothing in here that says it's bounce ready. Sorry. Oh my goodness, what did that bank do? All right, so Tesla's up 4%, groovy. Amazon's a little green. There's nothing really else moving. That's why I'm looking around. And as I see anything, I'll let you know. Anything that's really moving, let me know, ladies, if you see anything. I'm still just like, okay, I still like this one. Mobileye, no question. This Mara, um, we all pick our poison, but I don't see any interest in going long. Junk, junk. Oh, so much junk. Gilead's trying to be relevant, but I fear that it's exactly when it will start to roll over, but it hasn't. So there's that. This was Alexander recommended. I just had the gap filled and it went, if 80, then 100 kind of thing. Came back exactly at the fib level, which was kind of cool on earnings. And now it's trying to digest not only the earnings, but also the 10-week. But I don't like bearish engulfing. I don't like it at all. So to me, this means it will bounce to 50% of that candle. Let's see. I'll put another one in here. Not to confuse. Hold on. Make it pink. And we're here. So this is expected. Now we see what it's made of. If it's bearish, like this candle relates, implies, sorry, I'm inferring that this is that was a fabulous run, right? That was a gorgeous, gorgeous. Ooh, look at that. That 10 and 21 crossed over, went sideways, broke out. That was so important. Pulled back, held it. Morningstar reversal. Oh my God, this is gorgeous. Ah, there's the gap fill. And then it ran higher into earnings and then came back down. So for me, there's just not a lot of risk reward right there, right now. There isn't a lot of new stuff either. Really, there is not a lot of new stuff. What do we have today that's moving? We've got Tesla. All right, we know about that one. Deutsche Bank, no. It is, yes, bullish. This is Europe's troubled child that is held together with duct tape. I don't see anything bearish about that figure, about that pattern, but fundamentally, I am just not comfortable recommending Deutsche Bank ever. I can see a little bit of bouncing, trying on Baidu off that purple line, but until we get some fiscal, there just isn't really momentum there. There is not really a lot going on in the market today. Whew. That's just nasty. Oh, Alexander's here. Okay, so Regeneron lost out to ABBV on its autoimmune therapies, particularly for ulcerative colitis and Crohn's disease. ABBV is taking its market share. Now, I don't remember what it was doing. Great, right? Gorgeous. Breakout, very aggressive pullback, and then it totally got supported on that trend line and moved higher. And then it did this. That's nasty, just wicked. I don't remember why it gapped down, Alexander. Was it the announcement of Robert Kennedy Jr. to the HHS? Would that have caused that? That was exactly the day, but it must have been something else because that's a huge gap. Oh, the market's waiting for non-farm payroll and it's painful. 145, we kind of stick that landing, we're fine. Boeing, As long as we stay off this trend line, right? That monthly trend line, 137, I said, don't let it drop. So now it's trying anyway, but it's just not my favorite. It is working, yes. It's digesting the 100 day, but mm. And this bounced right back up into the 10-week and the 200 as expected, and now it digests or gets pushed back. I don't see. I said AMD had to hold that 140.77. It still has to hold the 140.77. Uber just does not at all like going higher. I don't even think this matters anymore. It's nope. What do you got? Okay, Uber has put flow coming in. Oh, I forgot. Sorry, Nelson. CELG. I don't know why this is. Even if the airlines are doing heavy lifting, they just don't look good to me. IYT. Hold on. ETHU, Lonnie. I had not seen that one. That's a new name. Most of the plays are going into this BitT, Bitcoin. No, that's not it. IBIT. That's it. Most of them are going into this new one because it has options. They are expensive and wide, but they are definitely the game in town for a lot of folks that want to play the option move. Doesn't do anything for Ethereum, but let me see. ETHU. That's the 2-time. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of these leveraged ones. Okay, so Celsius and I'm sorry, MCHP. Celsius is down to the 400 week. This is a do or die situation. This was lucky or good. I did not like Monster or Celsius, and that was before Kennedy, right? Kennedy wants to get rid of a lot of these unhealthy items. But this is the 400 week. It's got to get defended here. And so far, we got 1 week of bullish engulfing. Then we're back to the monthly, right? So it's got to get back above. And more importantly, this 10 and 21, it's probably going to take another 6 weeks of going mostly sideways on the weekly. I mean, this had been such a solid trend, and it's taking, it took a lot, by the way, from 100 back down to 25 to flatten the 200. And that's going to be tough to get the 200 to move back up. But anyway, it's trying to stabilize above the 400 week, and the 400 week, if you want to go long on this, is 2687 in that neck of the woods, right? So just be careful. It's still out of favor. It has a long way to go before it's a potential trend reversal. Okay, MCHP. Sorry about that, Andre. MCHP, you asked and I forgot about it. No, this is busted. So this is the 400 week. It had a bounce and then it had a trounce and it broke the 400 week. So this one's still heading down to 58.74, which is where it got defended before. I would wait till it gets here and then decide. Okay, ABBV gap down, Alexander says. Thank you very much. With the combines of RFK Jr. announcement and a schizophrenia drug that it had paid billions from an acquisition when it failed its trial. There we go. All right, so we got a double whammy. Bad investment for it and dead weight. Goodwill is on the books. All right, so they wiped out that goodwill. The market did anyway. And now it's trying to stabilize, but it has a lot of work to do. This is not a lot of moving things today. I'll be honest. The Tesla, sometimes it's just the easiest ones are the only game. DraftKings, I hadn't looked at. And I hadn't looked at this one in forever. Mm, as long as it stays above 43.75, it's okay. Palantir, we did the option review yesterday, and you'd be shocked, but I have 79 for year end. Right? So we had 50 months ago. And then I saw the 70 calls getting acquired. And then for year end, 79. And for January, it wouldn't even surprise me if this hits 100 in a melt up. It is not reasonable. Nope. But it is the market we're in. So don't try to short it, is all I'm saying. Not a nope, not a short. Not a short in the house, except FedEx. That was the only one I saw. Literally on Monday. The only short I saw was FedEx. That's it. And it's still in play. That's it. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Why is no, that's Monday. What the heck? There we go. Sorry about that. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. And I'm on 2 days, so that's why it's not working. Let's do this right. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and today. Thank you. Sorry, I did not have that on the right time frame. I like it hour, day, and week. And right now, this is big old distribution. I would not be surprised if it comes right back down to this 100 week. See this kind of channel chopping? Yeah. So that's the only thing I saw short. Everything else. Oh, that's it. Technical. FDX did get a downgrade with UPS, if I remember correctly, but it was the technicals. It literally broke 293.30 in what looked like the start of a Morningstar reversal. It's not going to be easy, and it's not going to be all at once. It likely bounces and then comes here, and then bounces and then comes here. It's a swing because it's not days, it's weeks. But UPS also had rejection very, very solidly. Same idea at this 135.53. And notice, look at that descending 200. Love those. So it just makes this downtrend more viable. And I have to also call out that it's below the 400 week, right? So the fact that it pierced and then bounced on monthly, and here's your 400, it's just getting weaker and weaker. Every bounce is getting trounced. Look at this, right? Lower high, lower high, lower high, lower high. So as far as I'm concerned, that space, UPS is a mess. And FedEx is just a channel surfer. Channel surfing? They're not buying transport companies right now, even if oil's falling. They're buying whatever's in, de jour this. They're adding software plays and airlines. I don't understand the airlines. I still don't understand the airlines. This is, All right, so we got some strange things that are still working. Semis are getting a little chopped about today. They need to get back above this level, right? It's working, but with effort. The Qs are holding for the most part. FedEx is not. So that's the only DraftKings. That's interesting. I hadn't looked at it. It's a little extended, but it's definitely looks bullish. not with any great energy, but it looks bullish. Tesla has the energy and it has the nod and it has the option flow and it has the, it has the technicals. Anything above 359, it's crazy. If it comes back in 359, be careful. CPI data is absolutely expected to be warmer. Unemployment is expected to also be hotter, which is not great. Okay, NVIDIA is getting a little bit of protection coming in, at least on the put side. Yeah, but for what duration? A day? I'm talking a bigger picture, like the swing, multi-week kind of swing. As long as we got through earnings, pulled back to 36 and held with that close above the 10-week, we're now above 140. We're hitting the Keltner channel. That's a digestion period. But as long as we stay above this 140.76, right, this is gonna keep going. I have a project I'm working on this afternoon, but I did want to write about option flow for those who might be interested. But as far as stock picking, it's very, very, very much the same, right? On a swing basis anyway. Mara is doing fine. Mobileye is doing fine. Ethereum is about ready to, bust a gut potentially, right? But there isn't really anything that I'm excited about. No, it's not posted. I haven't even gotten a chance to post it. Yeah, so I will. That's part of the project I'm working on this afternoon. All right, so gold having a little shake and bake here on that level. Not a surprise with Bitcoin in play. That's kind of the warning. See if dollar can get back inside 105.40, but so far it's not. There isn't anything that I can see anyway on the macro news. We got the jobless claims, not a surprise. We got Bitcoin and Ethereum moving higher, not a surprise. We have bonds digesting sideways, not a surprise. We've got SPX above the call wall, the JP Morgan 60.55, not a surprise. We have no momentum yet for a melt up until we get a 2% positive day, and then watch out. We have no inverted yield curve, so banks, right, are not rolling over, of size. So we're really, and I hate using XLF, but you kind of get the point. We're not rolling over. It's not anything to look at until we get inverted. So nothing there. I will go over the breadth indicators next. We definitely have made it all the way up here, which I cannot believe how long I have waited for that. But we're there. And now we got to see what happens. We need a few weeks. This is on a weekly. This is not a daily. We're gonna see how long and what it does here. Does it just keep melting up? That would be like, what? But it's possible. Or do we create a pattern here, right? Some form of a pattern of either continuation or reversal. It's too early. It's just too early. Yeah, let me look at the indicators since it is just incredibly boring. And I don't see any news. And we talked about Regeneron. Yeah, I answered that one. Hold on. This is high yield option adjusted spread, and means basically that there's no risk in the credit markets, at least according to the pricing of their spreads. But I will warn that this is way down here to basically May, June, July timeframe of 2007 before everything changed. So it's an outlier. It's an outlier. And I do track it. Is it forming a inverse head and shoulders that will start to move up and volatility will start to move up? Maybe, or maybe it just stays down here for many moons. But it does indicate that the credit market, a high yield anyway, is very complacent. That's the reason why I look at that particular indicator. And this is yield, dollar yield ratio that is very risk off when it gets above 300, and we're not there. And this is a trend line, et cetera, so we're not there. And this is this is SPX inverted. So in case you're kind of curious, what is this? That's what that is. So I just review these for making sure I'm on the right side of the trend is what that means. Looking at price targets and risks and currencies and yield spreads, like this is very confusing, but this is the market on a weekly, daily, and 2-hour intraday with inverse VIX, with SPY Q, and the yield spread of 30-year US minus Japan. And it's a really nice fractal. So right now, that yield spread is pointing lower, and it typically pulls the market with it a little bit, not, major amount. There are a lot of squiggles in here, but just directionally, there isn't any momentum, is all I'm saying. Yesterday, we had the momentum. Right now, we're taking a little pause. So I use a lot of funky stuff to kind of determine if there are any inflection points, if there's any, bullish or bearish bent. NVIDIA makes the market, so I always have this one kind of separate. It's special. It's really special. This is gold, silver on a trend basis on a monthly, which means it's really still bid. It's still in play. But I would also say that because Bitcoin is taking off, it's gold and silver are kind of for another day. They're not momentum plays right now. This is VIX, a 3-month to spot ratio. And hopefully you can kind of see that as this moves higher, it's good for the market. As it moves lower, it's not so good for the market. We're still moving high with a little blip. So this is basically helpful for rate of change, or no, standard deviation for SPX. So I look at this as a kind of a tell. I won't say kind of a tell. I look at this as a directional tell for the market, but also when we get to extended. So here is this same indicator deep in backwardation. Below 1, think of it as a 0, because I know a lot of people study this on a 0 mark, but I use a little bit different things. Anyway, the point is, once we got back here, that was August 5th, and then we had a convexity reversal of size in the markets, and that was short covering in a nutshell. And you can see what happened with VIX. It went to 65 and then dumped. So this is just an overlay. These are things that I show you, but what I'm really doing is looking myself. I'm looking at the indicators to see if we have any change. Is any liquidity coming out? Nope. Anything above 0 is nice. And we've been literally above this level since September 11th. What happened on September 11th? Jensen went on TV and NVIDIA sprouted wings and reversed higher, and the market followed. And this is just a liquidity tell, and then I have the ES over it. So if you're kind of curious, what the heck is she looking at? These are all kinds of charts. This is an intraday chart, whereas this is a daily chart, whereas this is a monthly chart, because I consider gold and silver more of a trend trade, but I also really, really like when it gets inflection points, like right here. What happened here? March 1st, what happened to gold? Spiked higher, gorgeous breakout. I was waiting for that for months. That kind of stuff. So that's why I showed this stuff. But this is right now, right here, right now, we're in a growth rotation. And I do that because I've got this growth value ratio, and momentum has turned higher and the ratio has turned higher, and we've broken out above a key level, which means melt up potential is in the house with NASDAQ 100. Lots of funky things. But you can also see, and I got a segue here, right? Bitcoin is bid. Ethereum looks ready to. But with this, I then go and drill down. Okay, what's the market telling me? Advanced decline. This is on a weekly, just to kind of keep that in mind. Advanced decline is clearly in trend. Like this is the November 1st, Fed pause and Yellen Yahtzee right here. Sorry, this is the end right here. And here's your 100 week. Now, advanced decline is basically nicey. You get the whole market that's moving higher. You want to know how Mag 7 is doing? Right now, it's coming back a little bit, but it's still in trend. We had a little reversion to the mean for a little while before the election, right? This was the Trump pump, a little bit of a thump, and then we went right back up. This is NASDAQ 100 advanced decline. Look at that gorgeousness, right? This is the, tag you're it. We had a little bit of a shake and bake in April, got defended. And then we had August 5th, defended, etc. So the point is, I track these indicators, just like I do stocks. They're still in trend. So I don't want people to be chased out of their trend longs or their swing longs just because of a news item or because, they feel a certain way. Market has done nothing wrong yet. Then I look at breadth, really like breadth indicators. This is important to me. This is one of the ways that I was able to identify that we were going to roll over way to heck back here on November 16th, 2021, right here. We had a fake breakout, fast failure, and then the market continued selling underneath the surface for all of 2022. And one of the ways I was able to go on TV in January, literally January 9th, and say that I expected SPY to pull back 20% in 2022. Ended up having NASDAQ pull back 35% and SPY pulled back 20%. We had this great pattern setting up for what I saw was a head and shoulders, which is a reversal pattern. So I'm funky about that. I love breadth indicators. And right now I can tell you, since this Fed pause and Yellen Yahtzee right here, this is an indicator, right here on the 200 week, the market has moved higher. And we've had some little gyrations, which have been fun to time, right? But honestly, they get defended. And then what happened here? This is July, we moved higher, big expansion higher. What happened here? July here into August 2nd. 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks. Right here. We had this breakout. And then July 9th, I warned, and July 10th, we started rolling over. But this indicator is more breadth underneath, like big picture, not just concentration risk. 65. This just shows you a gap down. It doesn't correlate with Mag 7. It's just telling you breadth of the whole market, the whole cumulative new week, new high. How many stocks in the universe, in the entirety of the universe, are making new highs versus new lows? And you can see we're, pulled back a little bit. That was actually, I wrote about that and said it's time for a reversion to the mean. And we came back almost to the 10 week. By the way, that's my mean. And then we moved higher. And this is Trump bump. We had a little bit of a thump and then continuation. And here we are. So this is what I mean by, okay, we need to see some selling. We haven't, and I don't mean just intraday. Right now we've got some intraday selling. Now we need this to follow through. We need this to come back down. We need a macro trigger, right? So we come here, we break that, then we can come back down here. Now that's an air pocket. That's what I would be looking for. But we haven't even rolled over yet. So then I go to the next one. This is volume, man. This is telling me we got selling underneath the surface and nobody sees it. They think they see it or they think they see it, but this is actually computing buying and selling. And one of them is green that says you've got more buying than selling. And one of them is red, which says you've got more selling than buying. It's that simple. It is cumulative volume. It couldn't be easier. But I do the same exact thing. Look at this. This is the August 5th low, right? Right at the 10 week. Right on August 5th when we had that reflexive bounce. VIX was 65. And look at that. Morningstar reversal is wicked bullish reversal pattern for higher. We had a reversion to the mean trade. Big, huge expansion higher. Pullback was shallow. There's your Trump bump, a little bit of a thump, and then a breakout. And now what are we doing? This is a mean, a reversion to the mean. We could come back down here. We could absolutely, this has been, and I keep pointing this out, this has been selling since Friday at 1 o'clock. Doesn't show that, but it is a Friday at 1 o'clock. Right here. Friday at 1, they started to sell. See all the green? Okay, so my point is, this is just something I use. This was structured selling. I also mentioned that. Remember that? I said, oh my God, look at the stair step. That is automatic computer programming buying. Doesn't have any flow to it, up or down. It is just computer buying. And then here's the selling. This is normal. See how this is kind of choppy? You got some buying, you got some selling. These are humans again. That other stuff was computer. Stair stepping, 45-degree angle, absolutely computer. This is normal. This is underneath the surface selling. Is it a lot today? No, it's the trend is moving a little lower. And then I look on the daily and I can see, yeah, all right, so we're going to make it back to the 8-day. Doesn't mean they can't bid it right back up. Right now we're still overbought. Nothing nasty is happening of size under the surface is all I'm trying to say. We are extended and we're coming back in a little bit, and it's been happening for 4 days underneath the surface very quietly. And so what does that translate to? It means, don't panic. It just means that it would not surprise me one bit. And what I specifically posted for 2 days in a row, right? That I would not be surprised if small caps come back in and there's an air pocket of risk, but it's small. It's not a big air pocket. It's a small air pocket. So now we're come back in to 236.31. We break 236.31. We come back down to the 10-week. We break the 10-week, come back down to 226.65. We break the 226.65. We come back to 221.65. This is if then. That is not my baseline bet. My baseline bet is that we had this happen because I could see underneath the surface. This, speaking, is very much focused on the whole market. So think NYSE, include small caps. Very much so. It is not focused on MAG 7. It is not NASDAQ 100. It is the whole market. So now, doesn't that make sense now? What's underneath the surface is weakening. And what do you have that's moving strongly higher? I'll show you. Here's a scan on the last 15 minutes, for example. It's a 15-minute long scan and short. But the point is, you've got Bitcoin. Zim's having a bounce. This is right now, but I could do this at any point. Here's NASDAQ 100. What's moving? Not a lot. Isn't that funny? Very little, relatively speaking. But you know that the FANG stocks are the ones that are getting bid right now. Tesla. You can kind of come over and you can see Momo. Momo, not the small, not the mid cap, not the small stuff, but Tesla. Tesla's keeping the market up. Amazon's keeping the market up. Microsoft's a little green. Apple's a little bit red, but not enough to, scare anybody out. So that's how my brain works. And that's how I literally look at what might be a bigger risk coming. And I don't see it right now underneath the surface. I see a small air pocket of risk, but a small air pocket can pick up speed. So you do still have to be, I have to be really, really, really focused on that. And you're mentioning Roblox. So this is on my scan, right? I just showed that it was one here. So this I had missed earlier because I was talking about all my indicators, but it's up 8%, but almost all of it is from this morning. It did gap up. But these are junk, not junk, I don't want to say junk, but I mean Herbalife, I'm not going for that. Children's Place, yeah, no. Jets, I already told you, is a complete phenomenon. Um, American Airlines, United Airlines, Delta, Palantir. I'm all over that one. So this one I'm really comfortable with. So that's what I do is I go through this scan while we're talking, for the 2 hours in the morning to see first and foremost what's the market direction, what any macro news, economic data, any market moving news of interest on plays that I am definitely focused on, and you know about them because I go over them over and over and over again. And then I'll look at the scans and I'll say, okay, I'm out on chasing airlines. I know that we have factor rotation into the end of the year. We've got some earnings that are still coming in. I can still see the call, aggressiveness in some of these darlings like Tesla and Palantir. So those are the ones I'm focused on. And then I kind of look through and say, huh, that's not a lot of red. Where's the red? What's really moving? I'm not worried about, silver is not in play with the gold, but I've been really, really focused on that since late October. Warning, it's just not time. We'll get another chance. Anything else in here? Nope, not really. Not really, not really, not really. What's moving? Retail dump, Signet jewelry dump. I know, it's Abercrombie dump. But this is all a lot of retail that we know is already weak. Retail is very weak. Amazon is holding up the retail sector, but it really has a lot of AWS. It's now doing its own chips. Apple gave it an attaboy this week because of its chips. But yeah, I missed Roblox. Mikey's just mentioning this now, and maybe this turns into something, but just this is tough, right? So this fell in 2022, not just because NASDAQ had a correction, but because it also had a lot of lawsuits and related overhang from predatory sexual, practices. Now it's starting to come up, and I don't know if I really want to have anything to do with this. So this is an IPO low. There's your 221 top. Here's your bottom fishing play. If you're just looking at this as get rid of that, as literally so many of these bottom fishing tech plays that have gone nowhere, and they have some short covering. That's all, really. It's an end of year. This happens a lot with heavily shorted stuff and junk. Or do you believe it's part of the SaaS acceleration where CFOs or companies are really allocating? I don't think they're allocating to Roblox. I think this is a short covering. I think they're allocating to team and CFLT and stuff that we already sized up as a gorgeous long because it was an election year and all those campaign tweets, SMS and the rest. They make a good killing in that season. And it looks gorgeous. So I don't know. If Roblox is going to be the next one, then there's an idea. And that's from Mikey pointing it out. And it did meet my scan. I'll give it that. But it's just not my favorite. Oh, JKS? Oh, no, not ready. If you're playing it because it is a solar play in particular, or because what's your time frame? Swing? It's it's really mm. Okay, so the only reason it really went up is the, you know, excitement here with stimulus. It's trying to base. Yeah, it's not my favorite. No, I'm not a fan right now of China plays in general, but even solar can. This had the potential to right here, right? We have little bounces and it gets tapped right back down. That broke. It's just they're a mess. I'm not a fan of the this space. If we were to have yields go way back down, because it's very sensitive, interest rate sensitive, then maybe. But we're not there. We're just consolidating if that's 200. So no, I don't like JKS. VKTX and Eli Lilly. There's still nothing here of me that interests me. All right, so we talked about Tesla. Got to hold that to 359. We talked about the growth rotation. It's taking a little pause. We talked about VBAI, if you're into that. Do a little research on your own. I'll try and remember where I got that information. Same thing with NBIS. They're hot and heavy over this one. Like they were for Palantir. Seriously, like they were for Palantir. The difference is I don't see the, here, let me just show you. This volume, oh no, that's pretty big. 17 million, 22 million, 24 million. That had 13.6 million. It's too extended. It definitely has, it actually has good volume. Yeah, I don't know these. I just don't know. Anything new? Nope. Really, no. UNH is getting some event risk kind of priced in a little bit from the assassination of its CEO. Not the one who actually founded it, interestingly enough, or had been really with the company since the very beginning. He retired in 2021. This is the new guy who just came in 2021. But it's not really enough to I think scare investors out. It's populism that should scare corporations in general, but I don't think it's scaring investors out. I'm not seeing anything else. Very, very kind of oversold stuff that's moving higher. The SAS accumulation plays listed in swing are good. The Bitcoin and ETH proxies and related proxies are good. I don't understand UAL, so what do I do with that? The China plays, I think, have heavy lifting to do. I think it's fine to chase after the fact. I don't know if anyone is really expecting, really expecting fiscal next week. They hope, but they don't necessarily expect fiscal next week announced at their meeting. Lots and lots of stuff is just sideways. I don't have any interest in XLP. It's at resistance. XLV, it's at resistance. XLU, it's at resistance and coming back down. So these are not really in play. IGV is taking a little break today. Alexander's pod is still great. There isn't anything here that's new. Ugh, it's terrible. I'd love to find just something more, but this is not what the market is telling me today, and I don't push it. So it does not have anything in here that's new. Very thin, very uneventful. Wait until MCH, whatever chip thing comes back down and maybe it has a reflexive bounce there. CDNS still looks fine. This is in the kind of semi ecosystem, and it's trying to get above breakout higher. It still looks fine. Hey, James, good morning. Okay, CEG. It's still fine. These power producers are still in play. It did fill this gap. Just needs to continue to work higher. Right now, it's definitely consolidating this ginormous expansion candle, right? So needs to get a little bit going. The other one, masterful, right? That was just, oh my goodness, who came up with that one? You know, one that's still under the radar, but still looks fabulous is boring GLW. This is also client Ann's. Remember this lovely breakout? Literally, it's still on its way to double. 34. It's not there yet. 68 would be measured move price target. If anyone remembers that, it is still in play. Once it gets above, it's a nice double. I remember when I had earnings, I said, I'm not worried about that. And it got right back up. So these are still in play. Nothing wrong with them if you're looking for something new. Otherwise, CEG is just trying to get above 256 after that gap fill. Sorry, it's boring, but definitely. Oh, and Han, which is Archna's, has some more options coming in. That's bullish, and this is an Elliott play. Yeah, here, look at the options that just came in. They're buying the 240s. I don't think they're selling those. I mentioned this because it's boring until Elliott came in. That was the reason for this big spike higher. I also mentioned it's very hard to short corn syrup, but this is the major producer of corn syrup. And that's likely going to get, they're so diversified, it's ridiculous. So I'm not really, again, I can't like, Kennedy comes into HHS and says, okay, no more corn syrup. It'll have a little effect, but it's not a reason to short. I wish I had more for you. Not today. Pretty sad. Very focused on a few names. And the Bitcoin Ethereum crowd. And we still didn't tag 524. So bummed about that. 26. And I have not found any other shorts except the warning for a chase short in small caps, which is working. Very slow, I know, but it's good to have at least something. The VIX financed call spread for those who are interested in that. And FedEx more on a swing basis because I really just see this as a channel chopping. I'm not talking about a trend reversal. I'm talking about, look at this very, kind of defined trend. Why not? I find nothing else by conviction. So anyway, that is the first price target, 275. Well, actually, that was, and now this is the second price target. And I think we have a bounce have to break in order for it to come back down. But FedEx looks like the only thing I have this week at all that was short. And then was there anything else that was coming in for earnings? I don't think so. Lulu has earnings after the close. Yeah, careful on that. That was the last thing I wanted to do. Earnings after the close. Hold on. Last thing. Foot Locker, you know how I feel about that. Be careful. That's a bad sign for Nike. Even though Nike is having a little bounce right here, it's not a good sign. Okay, DLTR. They reported a little bit better than expected. Don't care. Mattel never goes anywhere. They have such overhang with their IRS situation. CBP is Yeah, yeah, terrible. Same thing. Guess all those the staples are just not the place to be. ConAgra, Hershey's, nasty. Yep, nothing there. Ah, but Chipotle's are flying off the shelves and they're still doing great. And this is an arch and a play. I'm pretty darn sure this is, she loves this one. So they are boosting prices to offset inflation and it will be 2% nationwide. All right, I forgot to go over the morning kind of report that I usually do. So let me just get through that real quick. We talked about Teslas, we talked about Rivian. What was the news on ETR? Don't know. Don't know. NFE was upgraded. That's a utility that's coming up off the bottom. LNG and NFE are among companies with direct LNG exposure. That's another reason why it's getting bid. And current upside potential from healthy prices, which have been steadily rising since hitting a low of around 8 MMBTU in February. In the past February weeks, prices in both Asia and Europe have drifted toward 15. All right, so NFE is getting a little bid. I wish I could tell you more. All right, and then banks, we already kind of blew through that. Basically, Mara and Hood, and oh, they're getting tapped back down. All right. Eli Lilly, Novo, not going anywhere fast. The two at the 10. Oops, sorry. It hasn't even gotten up there. That's pathetic. Novo, NVS, NVAX. There's nothing there. UNH, we know about this. JetBlue guides. JetBlue is not important. ODFL, that is getting hit. Trucking recession might be hitting. XPO is still the strongest of the pack. It really, really, really is the best looking chart, eating the other lunch boxes. In... All right, GXO, I don't know this one. No, there's nothing here. PCAR, CMI. These are the trucks, still doing extremely well. Industrial aerospace, lunar. I don't care, don't know, I don't know. Heavy duty machinery, CMI, PCAR. This was a trend recommended fave that has come back down and now looking like it wants to break out. You know about Pelletier, home builders. Yeah, they still look broken. Nothing. All right. We already know about CRM yesterday and Okta and PSTG. So still tech is where it's at, and Marvell. So the tech is definitely where it's at. Even look at Snow. That was just a freak of nature. Speaking of SaaS accumulation, this is a much better one as showcase than, for example, RBLX, right? Huge breakout. And then, of course, Datadog still breaking out. Another SaaS recommended play that is, I thought, already done. Like, oh, come on, 150 should do it. No, no, it said shallow breakout, shallow pullback and move higher. So these are crazy. Now is another one. So these we really have tech. Tech is still the one, right? Now, right here, believe it or not, I said a double. I know it's crazy, but it's still working. You got 750 to 1500 in time potential. All right, that's it. Semis are having a tough time. And this is still falling into that 58.74 because they indicated Q3 revenue is expected to be at the low end of prior guidance. All right. I am going to see it tomorrow morning. We'll see if the market has a reaction to non-farm payrolls. Just be aware that it could, right? One of the other reasons I gave you a VIX trade. We already did this, but and that, but you're right. I don't have anything on GitLab. So that's coming up after market hours, okay? It's likely going to do well. If I was to, throw a dart, yay or nay, it'd probably be yay. One, it has had flow. Two, it has a chart. But also CRM crushed it. And aren't they in the same space? Anyway, long shot, but that's probably the only earnings play that looks good. And Lulu has earnings too, and it's trying. It actually, it looks good too. It really, 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 really did a great job. Crossing over, this was an Arch idea. It was done going down. I don't know if Nelson did it as well, but I remember this crossing over, pushing higher. Great job above the monthly, sideways for a month. It had all kinds of busyness here. It got above, and now we've got earnings. Very dangerous. It's made it all the way up to the 100 week, right before earnings, a descending 200. So not my favorite. Of the two earnings plays, I would say GitLab probably does better. Total hunch, I've got no edge. All right, I'll close here. I think I hit everybody. Can't even find there it is. All right, have a great afternoon. Cheers, bye.